from last year. I have been doing with that.
So, what is the difference between MVVM and NBC?
Basically, the basic difference is that the business logic and the data is differentiated in the two classes. Like initially, it was written in the view controller only. We hit the API in the same view controller, and we have the data, and then we show to the user according to our logic. But here, this thing is divided in two parts. One is a view model, and the other is view controller. View controller handles the same business logic part, in which we need to show the data to the user and the other UI things which we need to do. Whereas view model contains all the data part which we got from the server, handling the data and sending the data to the server. Like I mean to say the APIs part. So this is the basic difference between them, and we can easily use that view model part into another class also, another screen also. So this is also an advantage of that.
So you are saying that suppose that if we have to implement MVC, so it is mandatory to have the view controller, right?
In MVC, yes, we have view controller, but yeah, we can also extend that by using extension and another class. We need to make like plus additions or something.
What is the full form of MVC?
MVC is basically model, view, and controller.
Okay.
Whereas,
if you are going with the full form, right? So there is only model, view, and controller, right? There is nothing like view controller. There is nothing like view controller. This is the view controller is the way which is provided by Apple to implement MVC, right? Suppose that this drawback you are what the drawback you are saying here, this drawback is not the drawback of the MVC. This drawback is the drawback of view controller, right? Suppose that you are working with you are implementing MVC, but you are not working with view controller. Three components are there only: model, view, and controller. So by definition, what is the responsibility of controller? By definition of MVC, what is the responsibility of controller?
The controller responsibility is that basically that is the definition of the controller is basically that is brain behind that view. All the works that is working behind that view that is shown to the user is handled by the controller.
Suppose that I need to perform a logic to implement the animation. So where you will write in MVC?
Actually, if animation is used in multiple things, basically, if we are using an animation and that animation is working in the whole application, so we need to make another class.
No. Suppose that only in a single screen there is a animation. So where you will write the animation logic? You will write the animation logic in the view or in the controller?
In the controller, I will write that. Like I can use extension over that, and I can write in the controller.
Why?
Because everything that is, I don't have any other class to write that. In the view, control that.
Sorry. But by definition, when you read the definition of MVC carefully, you will find that controller is only responsible for the business logic. Not only the business logic, but you can say the technical logic, right? Performing the animation is not a technical logic. Performing animation is the UI. It means that the logic for the UI dealing with to update the UI. That type of logic is done. So that type of logic is view component is responsible for that type of things.
Okay, but I don't think we have any class for the UI view.
No, you can create the extension of UI, right? And or suppose that you need to perform a animation of the button, right? So what you will do, you will make the extension of the container of the button. You will make the extension of container of the button and perform the animation over there. But anyway, anyhow, this is not. We cannot consider this as a business logic. So controller is not a right place for that.
Okay, understood. Like
right.
Okay, understood.
Calling an API is the responsibility of controller. Calling, checking the network availability is the responsibility of controller. Calling the database query is also the responsibility of controller. But this type of animation and table view delegates, these type of things are not business law. So this is not responsibility. Okay, so suppose that you can implement MVC in this way also. Means suppose that you are not considering your view controller as a controller. You are considering the view controller class as a view only, right? And for the controller, you are creating another class, another custom class, right? So all the API call and all the database related calls you need to write over there, and means the controller is responsible to decide when it will call the API and when it will call which particular type of database query. So this is the logic the controller will decide, right? But suppose that table view delegate, collection view delegate, scroll view delegate, text view delegate, animations, these type of things is responsible because these are the responsibility of rendering the UI. So this is the UI logic. So the view controller will be responsible for that because you are considering view controller as a view.
As a view controller.
As a view. As a view, you are considering view controller. So in this way, you have resolved that problem. That type of problem means where the code was very large in the view controller. I've separated. Okay. So now the other thing is that suppose that you in MVVM you are calling API in view model. So
yes,
in view, so you are getting the data also there. So how we will update the view controller for that?
Basically, we use protocols for that. We create the methods in that, and we can provide the protocol self to the class, and we can call them, and we get the call in the view controller after we got the data, and we update the UI according to that.
Okay. What is the two-way binding? Do you have any idea?
Sorry, can you please come again?
Two-way binding.
Two-way binding. Two-way binding is no, I don't know.
Suppose that I am suggesting you a way. Let me know whether it is wrong or right. I am not implementing any protocols or these delegate things. What I am doing that my view model having the difference of view controller, right? And whenever I will get the response, I will just call the view directly call the view controller by So,
by the instance, right?
sorry.
By the instance.
Yeah, by
directly.
the instance. So is it right or wrong?
This can be implemented. Like there is no issue. Like this can be implemented. We can call that, but that would create a instance every time of the when we have a view or we have a view controller that would every time that have an instance of its view model when it comes to the screen, and that would be a strong reference of the thing, and and we need to call that every time. So and like basically the reason is that is not we do like that is that would create an instance. That is the
Apart from this, any other reason? Suppose that now you need to reuse the view control, this view model in so many screens, right? So different type of view controllers are there. So how will you reuse now? If you are going with my way, then how will you reuse that?
I can like in other view controller I would create another instance of that.
Right? Suppose that you need to use 100 times 100 places. So 100 view controller will be.
Actually, Rahul, your voice is.
I am saying, suppose that gradually the reusability concern has been increased, so that you need to reuse the same view model in 100 places, in 100 screens. So what will you do? Is view model need to be stored 100 instance of the view controller?
No, that would not be the way. Basically, we can create a global instance for that.
Which type of global instance? Different type of view controllers are there.
No, not instance of view controller. We will create an instance of the view model.
But in my way, what I am saying, we are not using any technical protocol. We are writing the code in such a way so that the view model is having the reference of the view controller, and then directly using the reference, it is passing the data. So now you are saying there's you are saying that there's lots of memory will be there, or reference there will be there, right? So but now my question is that suppose that you need to call this you need to access this view model from multiple view controllers. So how this view model will supply the data to the multiple view controllers, because there's a limitation, right?
Yes.
You are this view model is not knowing advancedly means how many view controller will access this.
So, like, there is a one way I can think of right now is that we can, instead of making the reference of that particular view controller, we can create the instance of a common view controller over that, like as we do. Like, and we can,
No.
all the view controllers would have
if
that.
you are doing this, so you are breaking the solid principles.
Yeah.
it is completely indicating that there is a reusability concern in this way. In this way, there is a concern of reusability, right? So now, if you are implementing view model in my way, so your view model is no longer reusable, right? That's again the drawback of the MVC you got facing.
Okay.
What is solid principle?
Sorry, don't know.
Okay, now my question is that my last question is regarding to the MVC and MVVM, and after that I will switch to the iOS part. So my question is that again, I suggested you that if you are implementing MVC, so don't consider view controller as a controller. You will consider the view controller as a view, right?
Okay.
And you are creating the custom controller also. You are creating the custom controller. Now the thing is, I think almost everything is same as compared to MVVM, because in MVVM you are also not considering view controller as a controller. You are considering view controller as a view part, and all the logic are performing in the view model, right?
Right.
That is a separate class, and here there is also a separate class which is responsible for the API calling and other things. And the thing is that we are saying here this class as a controller, and you are saying this class as a view model in the MVV, right? And now model is same in both architecture. So my question is that how I will distinguish between these, means when we should call this approach as a view controller, and when we should call this approach as a when we should call this approach as a MVC, and when we should call this the same approach as a MVV.
Your question is that, correct me if I'm wrong, you are asking me that when we should use MVC and when we should MVV.
I am saying that by definition, what is happening? If you will go to the MVC, then the MVC is saying the controller is responsible for the technical logic, and if you are going with MVVM, so definition is saying view model is responsible for the technical logic. That's why. So I think everything is same. Only the component name is different.
Yes.
Right. The responsibilities are same. Everything is same. Only the name is different. So if a class is performing the technical logic, so when we should say that this architecture is MVC, and when we should say that this architecture is MVVM.
Basically, when we have all the data directly in the controller, that would be the MVC. And when we got the data from another class called view model.
No. What do you mean by other class? Means the other classes. See, in both approach, we are not writing any API calling related logic in view controller, right? Whether it is MVC and whether it is MVV. Okay, so we have differentiate those things from the view controller, right? Another class is performing that type of logic. Okay, so now the simple question is that how I can decide, means say whether this class is controller or whether this class is view. Because one thing is same.
this is in both cases we can reuse that class in which we are hitting the API.
I already explained that one. Means how there's not a concern of the reusability, right? I just explained that. Just I have separated in MVC. Just I have separated this type of logic, this technical logic from another class. I am saying that this is my control.
Sorry, don't.
If the class is having the reference of the view and the model both, so it is we can consider this as a controller. Because we can say that this is the controller, because the controller is having the reference of view and model both, right? And in case of MVC, MVVM, view model is having the reference of only the reference of model, not having the reference of view. That's why you need to implement this protocol and these things. Project.
Okay.
This is the main basic core difference between MVC.